What is going on, everyone? This is Thomas Miner. I'm an agent with Remax Precision, and this is Thomas Talks on Thursday, where I get on a live stream and I just talk to you guys for about 20, 30 minutes or so. And the goal here is to turn real estate knowledge and turn Des Moines area knowledge into more of a conversation. I like to have all my social media content either be entertaining and informative. I hope that these live streams are both of those all combined into one. The most important thing about these videos is I want to talk to people about things that they're interested in. So every Thursday morning, I make a post asking for questions, turn it into a slideshow, and I talk about those things. So if you were watching live and you didn't comment on the post, go ahead and comment on the video, and I will talk about those things live as well as best as I can. I will be watching the comments as I'm talking here. So let's get into some stuff I found interesting first, and then we'll end it with my followers' questions, of course. So let's pop this up and start talking. Actually, I'm gonna go back to that type of screen. Broke Agent Media did a great article talking about 7 key housing market trends that they're seeing. They're basically doing this article to kind of fight back on all of the stuff you have been seeing, talking about how hard it is for people to buy right now. So these are 7 interesting trends that they pulled to hopefully show people that there is some optimism in the market right now. And before I get into these stats too, I just want to say the right time to buy a personal home is very much up to you and where you're at in your life. I was actually just thinking about this morning. Once you know, hey, I want to live in Des Moines for the next 4 or 5 years, or anywhere you're thinking about purchasing, once you are very, very confident, I'm going to be here for at least 5 years, and homeowning is a goal of yours, you should just immediately start looking. No matter what kind of market we are in, there's always deals to be found. And when I say deals, I mean buying homes under market value. A lot of the buyers that I've gotten under contract lately, I feel like have gotten good deals. A lot of the homes I'm seeing going pending in the market right now, I feel like have gotten good deals. And by good deals, I mean they're under what I think the market value is right now. You have to remember market value is a real estate agent's opinion on what a home is worth. That doesn't necessarily mean that you will always get that. Some people will list their home for sale at market value and get more of that. Some people will list their homes for sale at market value and end up getting less than that. There are a lot of different factors that go into that. So let's go through these stats and talk about it really quick. Affordability hit a 4-year high in January, mostly because mortgage rates dropped to around 6%. But the affordability metric that they use is based on national median income, national household, national home pricing, median prices, and interest rates. They're basically looking at how much people are paying for their monthly mortgage payments if they buy a house in January compared to how much they're making, and that's how they create that affordability index. Homes are more affordable right now on a national level than they have been in the last 4 years. So that's kind of an encouraging statistic. I can tell you in central Iowa, that is very much holding true. Affordability is getting better than it was in 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025. So that is definitely homebuyer affordability, same thing, improved 7.5% in 2025. So it's just trending that way. Nearly 1 in 5 homes had price cuts in late 2025. 1 second. 1 in 5 homes had price cuts in late 2025. That is definitely true in central Iowa. We are seeing a lot of price reductions. The other interesting thing I'm seeing in central Iowa right now is we're seeing a lot of homes go pending and then go back on market. And when homes go back on market, that is typically a good sign that the seller might potentially want to make a deal. for whatever reason it goes back on market, we're seeing a lot of pre-approvals not go through because they're not using the correct lenders that properly pre-approve them. I'm going to talk more about that later, or inspection issues come up. So if an inspection issue came up, for example, the seller's opinion on the value of their house might have changed. The opinion of the price of the home might have changed in general based on the knowledge that that previous buyer figured out during the inspection. I am just checking really quick, checking comments. Okay. The buy versus rent gap is the smallest it is in 3 years. So when you're comparing average mortgage payments, if someone were to buy a home right now versus average rent, they're getting closer and closer to each other. So that is very, very good. Renter affordability. This is just housing in general. Renter affordability is improving as well. I haven't seen rents go up in central Iowa a ton lately. So that, is a good sign for just people finding affordable housing in general. And rent typically can be a good gauge on if how home prices are going to go down as well too. So, I mean, people need a place to live. They're either going to rent, or they're going to purchase, or they're going to live in their mom's basement. Those are basically your three options if you're actually living somewhere. So if rents are staying flat or going down, that typically means that buyers or renters are seeing a lot of options out there in the market. So rent not going up is a good sign for the housing market, as far as sales go as well too. There are 37% more sellers than buyers nationally. This is a good sign too. Once you start getting into a situation where buyers are outpacing sellers, that's when home prices go up. So the fact that we have more sellers in the market right now than we do buyers is a very, very good sign. So let's go to the next slide. I wanted to point this out. This is kind of a cool thing. Hubble is proposing a new home development in Des Moines proper. You can make a lot of arguments that Des Moines proper needs a lot more new construction to actually have people start living in the city proper. So this is going to be a really good time. It's a big development. It's one of the biggest ones Hubble has ever done. Right now, they're proposing 508 single-family houses on 170 acres. It's estimated to be a $150 million project. They're thinking the project is going to take 10, 15 years total, which might seem kind of long, but if you watch any housing development that's going on towards you, that's about on pace. I mean, when these developments start, they don't get done in a day. And a lot of builders, especially if it's just going to be Hubble, a lot of builders won't just build all their inventory at once. That is a good way to tank the prices of your homes. They build a few, sell a few, build a few, sell a few, kind of just keep the rotation going. The other exciting thing about this, I think they made a good pivot in what they're proposing here. They were originally thinking this was going to be a lot of townhomes. I think it was in last week's episode, I showed some statistics saying that new construction townhomes were not selling well at all. I believe the months of inventory for that was like 11 months of inventory. So that would mean if builders quit building new construction townhomes, we would still have 11 months of inventory, which is a really, really strong buyer's market. So I think it's a good pivot to single family, even if you're building less total units. I think there's a lot more of a demand for single family than there is for townhomes. They're also talking about a potential park might be added. That is not something that's required in Des Moines proper. So it is exciting that they're talking about potentially having a little bit of character to this development. I see a lot of new construction developments that are just houses, to be totally honest. And I think it is exciting to just add something in there that makes it actually appealing to be in that development, actually appealing to be in a neighborhood that people are walking around in, not just driving in and out of it. So this is awesome. It's also going to be in Southeast Polk School District. So you're talking northeast part of Des Moines, just northeast of downtown. You're going to be minutes away from Adventureland and stuff like that with this development too. So I'm going to swing through. Look and see if we got any questions or anything like that. All right. Gretchen commented on my post today saying, who is your favorite client to work with? I'm not going to name names, but This is kind of interesting. Lately, and it kind of ties into the statistics that I was just talking about earlier. I'm really, really enjoying working with buyers right now. I think there's lots of great opportunities right now to buy a primary home, and there's just nothing more exciting than seeing a client walk through the right one and want to write an offer, and then me helping them get it under contract, and then me helping them close it up. Um, Not saying I don't like working with sellers. Working with sellers is um, a totally different thing. Working with sellers is a lot of prep work, um, getting the home set up and positioned properly, um, kind of having the conversation with sellers about what they should list at. That's one of my favorite things I like to do is do price analysis for clients. I like to walk through their homes and talk about just the little things that we can change to make it just look even better and show even better. I love talking to them about all the things I'm going to do to market their home. Um, Professional photos are really, really important. Having some good social media content is really, really important. Doing some direct mail is really, really important. Um, and a lot of that stuff is very, very fun. Open houses are very, very fun. So having listings where I am doing my own doing an open house for one of my own listings is a great time, to be totally honest. Especially, I've had multiple instances in the 7 years that I've been doing this where the open house I did actually ended up selling the house. And it's very, very funny because I've heard from so many agents, oh, you don't ever actually sell the house at an open house. You don't ever actually sell the house at an open house. It's a waste of time to do it. The only reason agents are doing open houses is to find more buyer clients, which isn't necessarily a lie, but they always say the open house never actually sells the house, and it's just not true. When you want to sell a house, you want to get as many people in the house and looking at it as possible. No one, it's very, very rare that someone can just see a house online and want to offer on it. They're always going to want to tour it, and doing an open house gets more people touring your home, more people genuinely thinking about, is this the right home for me? And you would be surprised how many open houses can actually sell a house. Believe it or not, I will argue about that till the day I die, which hopefully isn't a long, long time. So, Tim Meinert, what is the difference between a pre-approval and a pre-qualified buyer? I'm assuming he's talking about. So this kind of actually gets really, really tricky because lenders use these often interchangeably. And some lenders have both. They have a pre-qualification, they have a pre-approval. Some lenders just have what they call a pre-approval, or they just have what they call a pre-qualified. The general assumption is a pre-qualified. If they give a buyer a pre-qualification, that is normally just based off of their stated income, a credit check, and then their stated assets. Generally. And then a pre-approval is based off of their verified income, verified assets, and their credit score. So a pre-approval is typically much more solid. But the trick is a lot of lenders will use these interchangeably. So you have to do something that is difficult for a lot of people, and you have to actually read the letter that the buyer's agent is sending you. And legally, that letter will have to say, hey, buyer X is pre-approved or pre-qualified for this, and that is contingent on, and then they give a checklist of things that pre-approval or pre-qualification is contingent on. So if they haven't verified income, or if they haven't verified assets, that letter will have to say it's contingent on us verifying assets, it's contingent on us verifying income. There will be a lot of other things that it's contingent on, but if you read a letter like that and it says they haven't verified income and they haven't verified assets, that letter is much less strong, if that makes any sense. So that's kind of your difference. And a lot of times, especially if the offer is not solid, if they don't have a solid letter to accompany that, um, it might be one of those situations where I advise the seller just to say no or say, "Hey, come back with this," and then we can start talking about it. Um, because it would stink to get under contract on a price that you're not happy with, and the buyer ends up not being able to actually get the loan that they said they can get. So, and it ties it directly back into what I was talking about earlier with the homes going pending, and then going back on market. So, it's not a good vetting of a buyer. And if you are thinking about starting the process of getting pre-approved and starting your home search, all the lenders I recommend will typically not hand out what they call pre-qualified letters. They will typically not let a buyer write an offer on the house until they've verified that income, until they verified because it looks bad on the lender as well, to go under contract and then have the pre-approval fall through. So it is just a big thing. And I know when you're getting approved for a loan, it can be annoying to send the lender all these documents and verify all this stuff, but it puts you in a much better situation. You're much more confident when writing an offer that no, I am 100% approved for this loan. There's going to be no issues, as opposed to getting that pre-qualifying, writing an offer, then they start asking for all those documents, and you're scheduling an inspection, and there's just so much other stuff going on in the transaction that you're just doing a lot. And I know a lot of you have full-time jobs that you're doing, and if you do all of that lender stuff while you're trying to organize the stuff that happens as you're just going under contract, it can get very, very stressful. So I always recommend to people to have your lender verify all that stuff ahead of time, so it's just much less stressful. Let's pop through, see if I have some comments. If you have any questions or comments, do not be afraid to pop in and ask them as we are going through this. I love live comments. And in some of these, there is a link to just go ahead and call in if you're feeling extra frisky. Landon asks, what do you find most fulfilling about being an agent, or what would you say your greatest achievement is so far? It's kind of on that. Landon commented this. Helping my friends and family with this type of purchase is one of the most fulfilling things, especially if it's a friend of mine or a family member that is going through something particularly tricky or stressful, being that resource that they can lean on and that they trust. I mean, for example, I trusted Landon so much that he was the officiant in my wedding. But just being someone that they can lean on to, for example, sell your house and upgrade into a house that is big enough for your growing family. And just, I am a part of that story now. I am the agent that helps them get into more of that forever home. That is one of the more fulfilling things of being an agent. My greatest achievement so far is ever since 2023, I have been doing a program that I call my Every 20 plan. And basically what that is every home I sell and close on, I reach out to those clients and I say, hey, is there a charity that's important to you? And then they nominate that charity. And then once I get to my 20th transaction, all of those charities that my clients nominated get put into a poll. And my friends, family, anyone that's following me votes on that poll. And whatever charity wins that vote gets the donation of my 20th compensation check of the year. And in 2023, I successfully did that. I closed 21 transactions in 2023, and I donated over $8,000 to Meals from the Heartland. So that is probably my greatest achievement so far. That's what made me the most happy, at least. That was so much fun. And for those of you that don't know, I throw a little bit of a party when I get to that 20th transaction too. So So far this year, I've closed one, and I have two under contract, and then I have two listings. So hopefully that's going to be about five that I have pretty much locked up. And then who knows what the rest of the year is going to bring me. We're only 2 months in. So we're about a quarter of the way through it. So hopefully we can get to 20 transactions this year, donate another check, have a great party. So if you know of anyone looking to buy or sell this year, tell them that I'm doing that, and tell them on top of that that I am a good real estate agent too, and send them my way. And I would love to take care of them and love to do that. So my dad popped in with another question. How can a person qualify for a lower mortgage rate? Is it true that it's based upon good looks? So we don't give out interest rates based on looks anymore. That's illegal, thankfully, because I'm at best a 6.5, so I wouldn't be able to get an good interest rate. But there are ways that you could qualify for a lower mortgage rate. So you could do what's called an interest rate buy down, and you can either finance it yourself with cash, or I've had some buyers get in a situation where the seller is offering them credit to help them buy down a home. I've seen that a ton right now, because when you got to think about it, like if you're looking at a house that is listed at 300,000, and instead of getting the house at 290, which you possibly can, getting a $10,000 credit, using that to buy down the interest rate, and instead of like the low sixes that we're at right now, you can get into the low fives with an interest rate buy down. I'm not sure that that's exactly what it is, but that would be kind of a right around what you would be looking at. Your monthly payment changes a ton more than if you're just getting $10,000 off the listing. So that is definitely something to look into. Other ways you could qualify for a lower mortgage rate is it's really going to come down to what your loan is looking like and what your qualifications look like. So you can improve your credit score. The more you improve your credit score, if you get above 780, typically you're going to get the best interest rate that a lender is offering. And then more of a down payment will also get your interest rate down as well. So once you get to that 20% down payment, you can qualify for the lender's lowest interest rate, and you get rid of that PMI that will decrease your monthly payment as well. So guys, I don't have much else. So that is it for this week. Once again, I appreciate everyone hopping in. I appreciate everyone watching. This is one of my favorite things that I do every week, and I love that people are getting more and more involved in writing questions. The more questions you ask, the longer I'm on live streams talking to myself, essentially. So if you find that funny, please comment with more questions. If you're watching this video later, don't be afraid to just add more questions, and I will talk about them next week. If you're interested in calling in and having a live discussion with me too, reach out to me about that as well. But otherwise, I hope everyone has a great weekend. It looks like we're having another fun snowstorm Sunday night. So batten down the hatches for that. Go to the grocery store, buy your bread and milk and everything that's a necessity. And have a great day. Thank you so much.